Hello, and welcome to the Paranormal Operator Podcast, where we talk about all manner of things that go bump in the night. Here, we will be discussing sightings, investigations, news, and popular media surrounding the paranormal, supernatural, and occult phenomena. So settle in as we search for the truth. I'm your host, Adam, Operator 23. In today's episode, a possible UFO at King Charles's coronation, NASA to hold a public UAP meeting, strange infrasonic sound coming from the stratosphere, space weather, a Bigfoot sighting from Michigan, DNA evidence of a large cat in the UK. Where is the best city for paranormal activity? Upcoming events, and reviews of the movie Exists and TV show Skinwalker Ranch. Before we get started, however, I just want to take a quick moment to wish all the moms out there a very happy Mother's Day. UFO News. Our first article comes from The Mirror, entitled UFO Spotted Flying Over Coronation as Mysterious Object Seen Hovering Above Red Arrows, dated May 7th. There are precious few details, but here is what we know. Simon Balsam, 59, was taking pictures of the Red Arrows, which is the UK version of our Blue Angels or Thunderbirds. The weather was overcast, and the original air display had been dialed back due to the weather. While snapping pictures, Simons captured a red object, roughly spherical, above the Red Arrow formation. Simon stated that he did not even check his photos until the next day since the weather was overcast. While reviewing, he spotted the object. Unfortunately, we do not know anything more. The object in the photo may be a UFO, but it could just as easily be a balloon. Except that I have not seen any balloons in any of the footage from the coronation. So, maybe it's not. But it still could be. Next, NASA is holding a public meeting at 10:30 a.m. Wednesday, May 31st. This meeting is from its independent study team on categorizing and evaluating data of unidentified anomalous phenomena. It's no longer unidentified aerial phenomena, I guess. The agency also will host a media teleconference at the conclusion of the meeting. The full meeting will air on NASA television, the NASA app, and the agency's website through 2:30 p.m. You can watch online at nasa.gov/live. NASA defines UAP as observations of events in the sky that cannot be identified as aircraft or known natural phenomena from a scientific perspective. The focus of this public meeting is to hold final deliberations before the agency's independent study team publishes a report this summer, outlining how to evaluate and study UAP by using data, technology, and the tools of science is a NASA priority. It is not a review or assessment of previous unidentified observations. The report will inform NASA on what possible data could be collected in the future to shed light on the nature and origin of UAP. The UAP Independent Study Team is a council of 16 community experts across diverse areas on matters relevant to potential methods of study for UAP. NASA commissioned the 9-month study to examine UAP from a scientific perspective and create a roadmap for how to use data and the tools of science to move our understanding of the phenomena forward. Right now, the limited high-quality observations of UAP make it impossible to draw scientific conclusions from the data about the nature of such events. At 3 p.m., NASA will hold a virtual post-meeting media teleconference, which the agency will stream audio live on its website. A clean feed of the meeting will be available on the agency's YouTube channel. In accordance with the Federal Advisory Committee Act, the meeting includes opportunity for public comment. NASA will be accepting questions beginning at 10 a.m. on Friday, May 12th. You can submit those questions at nasa.cnf.io/sessions/hh4r/. Now to transition into space weather, an article from space.com entitled "Strange Sounds Recorded High in Earth's Atmosphere Have Scientists Baffled." Sandia National Laboratories launched a balloon carrying a microphone into the stratosphere, an altitude of about 31 miles or 50 kilometers. From here, there is little in the way of storms, turbulence, or air traffic. The instruments, originally designed to monitor volcanoes, picked up the normal sounds as expected, but also a repeating infrasonic signal of unknown origin. Unfortunately, that is all we have at the moment, but more information should be forthcoming. Now for space weather. This from spaceweather.com. May 10th. The Earth was struck by a minor coronal mass ejection, and another minor CME is on the way, projected to hit the planet around May 16th, causing minor G1 class geomagnetic storms. Meteor activity is also slow this week. However, slow does not mean none. On May 8th, the police were called to a meteor strike, which came through the roof in a Hopewell Township, New Jersey. The stone in question is a stony chondrite, about 2.2 pounds, measuring 6 inches by 4 inches, and is estimated to be 4.56 billion years old. And that article was from space.com. Cryptid news. This week's sighting comes from the Bigfoot Field Research Organization's database, report number 67602, dated January 30th, 2023, from Menominee, Michigan. The reporter was with 3 others hunting coyotes around 9:30 p.m. when at first they heard what they thought were wood knocks, and they simply dismissed it out of hand. They took about 30 minutes calling for coyotes, and when they stood up to leave, the reporter states he saw 2 large, bright eyes. The eyes were the size of a bicycle reflector, and they were so high up off the ground that at first he thought they were some kind of a reflector on a sign posted to, like a tree. But upon closer observation, though, using his rifle scope, he noticed that it was in fact a creature watching them from behind a tree. As the other hunters trained their rifle scopes as well, the creature slowly knelt down, and according to the account, the creature vanished for about 10 minutes. I think more than likely it probably low-crawled to another tree. It reappeared behind another tree about 10 yards distant to the right of the party. The reporter stated that the creature crouched and vanished in front of everyone's eyes. Additionally, the local dogs who were in the area, who are in fact hunting dogs, and they're trained to hunt coyote and bear and various other animals who don't normally react or are very vocal while in their kennels, were alerting to the presence of something. In addition, the coyote activity that evening was very quiet. Many of these details have been corroborated by another hunter. Across the pond, The UK's black cats, which have been rumored to exist, may be close to recognition. The following is from discoverwildlife.com, published May 12. In 2022, black hares were found on barbed wire following sheep attacks in Gloucestershire. The hair was tested and found to be a 99.9% match to the leopard species Panthera pardus. The research team has a documentary on Amazon, Apple TV, and Vimeo, and is currently working on an updated version to include the recent DNA evidence. Continuing our discourse on safety in the great outdoors, this week we will talk about proper clothing. While in the wilderness or just going for a hike, wearing the proper clothes will make your experience more enjoyable and possibly save your life. As a general rule, stay away from camouflage patterns and earth tones. Blues, reds, oranges, yellows, and fluorescent colors are best because they can be seen from greater distances. Before venturing out, check the weather. In the spring, temperature can fluctuate greatly, starting out sweaty and hot in the day and dropping to the 50s by night. And that also depends on your altitude as well. If nothing else, a rain jacket can help provide some heat retention if you have to spend an unexpected night in the woods. Additionally, you might also consider bringing with you a heavy contractor trash bag. You can put holes in the trash bag for oxygen and then slip it over you, and that will also help to keep in the heat. But make sure you put a hole in it first. I don't want anybody out there saying that I told you to stick your head in a plastic bag. You people are smarter than that. Come on. Now, if you prefer not to wear bright colors, because some people are just like that, you should at least carry a hunter orange vest. They are relatively inexpensive and fold up to basically nothing. If you are expecting to camp and you're looking to transition from your winter bag to a summer sleeping bag, you might want to bring a fleece liner. It will give you about another 10 degrees of warmth, and it doesn't really weigh that much. That being said, don't be afraid of a little extra weight, because you always need to be prepared for whatever may happen. Paranormal news. Since May 11 was National Twilight Day, there have been various articles floating around ranking areas for activity. Here is Lawn Love's ranked 2023 best cities for paranormal activity. They, quote, compared the 200 biggest U.S. cities based on 4 categories and looked at paranormal sightings, Bigfoot sightings, haunted sites, and paranormal conventions and events among 14 otherworldly metrics. The top 10 best cities for paranormal activity are: Number 10, Las Vegas. Number 9, Indianapolis. Number 8, Dallas. Number 7, San Antonio. Number 6, Philadelphia. Number 5, New Orleans. Number 4, San Antonio. Number 3, Chicago. Number 2, New York. And at the number 1 spot, Los Angeles. Conversely, the 10 worst cities for paranormal activity are: number 10, Lakewood, Colorado. Number 9, Boise City, Indiana. Number 8, Surprise, Arizona. Number 7, Orange, California. Number 6, Olathe, Kansas. Number 5, Overland Park, Kansas. Number 4, Hampton, Virginia. Number 3, Honolulu, Hawaii. Number 2, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the worst city for paranormal activity in the United States at number 1 is West Valley City, Utah. I wonder how close that is to Skinwalker Ranch. Can't be. I mean, I guess Utah is kind of a big place. Science news. A recent paper entitled Paranormal Beliefs Are Driving the Bias Seen in the Classification of Ambiguous Stimuli in Perceptual Decision-Making Paradigm, dated April 13th, 2023, is interesting to say the least, even though it doesn't really seem that interesting of a read. The paper correlates belief in the paranormal and people's ability to recognize the image of a house or a face when muddled with visual noise from 40% to 70%. So basically, they would take people who believe and skeptics, and they'd sit them down in front of a computer and say, okay, hit this button if you think it's a face, hit this button if you think it is a house. And so what they were trying to get at was how quickly and how correct people could spot a pattern, even if they really couldn't tell what it was. Now here's the catch. The images themselves were only thrown up for 350 milliseconds. Now, I've looked at some of these images, and the ones that are 70% visual noise, I can't make out any pattern whatsoever. So, I mean, yeah. Now, those with belief in the paranormal seem to have scored better at categorizing the images, which were, as I said again, only displayed for 350 milliseconds. But the conclusion seems to be that believers will tend to jump to conclusions based on very little information. And in fact, the participants were told not to think about it, just kind of go with your gut feeling. Now, maybe me being a rational person who believes in the paranormal, maybe I'm just an outlier, since I don't tend to jump to irrational conclusions with very little information. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Now, my only really big problem with their methodology is that participants are forced to choose house or face. There is no third option. And as I said, looking at these images, the ones that are 70% visual noise, I can't make any kind of discernible pattern at all. So, I don't know. I'm sure there's someone smarter out there with this statistics that was like, yeah, this is good. What I will say is that my psychology professor warned us to be very careful when it comes to studying cognitive biases. So I'm going to have to be someone with a higher pay grade than me to scrutinize this. But anyway, I think it's kind of interesting that people with paranormal belief will pick out patterns quicker and perhaps more accurately than people who are skeptical of the paranormal. Upcoming events. Well, this first one's not really upcoming. It happened yesterday. But yesterday we remembered Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist and ufologist who passed away May 13th, 2019, at the age of 84. He gave countless lectures and pushed people to challenge their notion of the UFO phenomena. May 19 and 20. Don't miss the 3rd annual Western North Carolina Bigfoot Festival that celebrates the legendary creature. It covers several blocks of Main Street in downtown Marion, North Carolina, located about 36 miles east of Asheville. In addition to the Squatch-themed items, you can find a variety of local crafts, food vendors, And this year, they will be adding an indoor expo on Friday. The big street festival will be held Saturday. Parking is limited, so please check the website for shuttle information. That website is romanticasheville.com/Bigfoot-festival. May 21, set in beautiful Coshocton, Ohio. The third Sasquatch Triangle Conference is excited to continue and educate and entertain in Sasquatch research. Speakers include Doug Waller, Amy Boo, Thomas Shea, and Charlie Raymond. Tickets are available on eventbrite.com for $35. June 2 and 3 in Canton, Ohio is the Monster Fest, presented by Small Town Monsters. There will be a movie premiere, amazing vendors, live podcast recordings, and guest speakers, 17 of whom include Lauren Coleman, Cliff Barackman, and Stan Gordon. Tickets are available at smalltownmonsters.com/SMT Monsterfest. And they are going to be $20.50 for online sales and $25 at the door. So pre-order your tickets. June 10 and 11, Dr. Stephen Greer presents a 2-day UFO disclosure conference and screening of his latest documentary, The Lost Century. This will be followed by the Disclosure 2.0 National Press Club event, Monday, June 12th. So the conference is June 10-11. The Press Club event is June 12. And if you cannot make it to the event, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing, there will be virtual options as well. Tickets can be found starting at $499 for in-person and $99 for virtual at drstephenGreer.kartra.com/page/DC Conference 2023. You can also catch some of the content on Dr. Greer's YouTube channel. June 16 and 18 in Asheville, North Carolina is the first annual Cosmic Summit, featuring Randall Carlson among 14 other phenomenal speakers. Millions worldwide believe there is more to recent Earth and human history than recognized by our gatekeepers. The Cosmic Summit will tell the whole story best we can. The Heretox subjects addressed at the summit will include the well-published Younger Dryas Impact event, more recent cosmic impacts, suspected precursor civilizations, Clovis people, the Black Mat, Göbekli Tepe, lost ancient technologies, controversial archaeology, megalithic monument building, Egyptian mysteries, and catastrophic geology. Unfortunately, many of you have probably heard Graham Hancock and Jimmy Corsetti will not be attending the conference. But on the bright side, that means that there may still be some in-person tickets available. The price, $571 after tax. Online tickets are also available for streaming for $49. They can be found at howtube.com/14369. June 17, Wares Cave, Virginia, will be the Virginia Bigfoot Con, presented by the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization. There will be many vendors, arts and crafts, food trucks, live music by Cousin Jimmy's String Band, and speakers, including Zach Bales, Bia Mills, Rick Reels, Mike Familant, sorry there, man, and Ed Brown. Special guest appearance by Animal Planet's Turtle Man from Call of the Wild. Now, our new last segment, because we used to do events last, but we got one more segment because our podcasts were running kind of short, so I added this on. Popular media. This week, I will be putting out a review of the found footage movie Exists. The movie follows 5 friends on a camping trip to an uncle's cabin in the middle of nowhere, Texas. On the way, however, the group hits an animal with their Jeep, and it is not a deer. Mayhem ensues over the course of about 4 days as something continually stalks and attacks them. Look for the review to come out around Wednesday. If you would like to watch the movie before then, it can be found on Amazon Prime for free. Again, the title of that movie is Exists. And I personally give it a 7 out of 10. It's a pretty good movie. All the characters, the decisions they make, pretty coherent. None of them are stupid, like some of the people in current Hollywood movies. Alright, now to the TV. This is your official spoiler warning for Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. You have been warned. Spoilers ahead in 3, 2, 1. On this week's episode of Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, Season 4, Episode 4, The Watchers. The episode begins with a recap of the previous episode, where the rocket engine explodes. The failure happened in the side of the motor, which, according to Travis, is almost unheard of. Reviewing the high-speed camera footage, the anomaly above the rocket is clearly visible from the very first frame. It is estimated that the explosion happens about 31 feet up, which correlates to how high a flight computer flew from a previous rocket that detonated on the pad. It's my assumption that the correlation here is that the rocket blew up, but the flight computer had enough behind it that it was able to travel and I guess maybe hit whatever the anomaly was, so it only went up to 31 feet and came back down. Now, during the review, Caleb asked whether this anomaly could be a force field or portal, to which Travis alludes is a valid question, and one that may be close to the truth given all the RF activity that has been detected on the ranch. Also during the review, Eric spots a light above the mesa, but it's only in one frame. Now, the object is fairly bright, and I feel that it would have been seen or spotted had it been visible for longer than a millisecond. Because when they were shooting this film, they were shooting, I believe, at 1,000 frames per second. So, yeah, that'd be a millisecond. The next portion of the episode is bringing the crane in to move boulders. And they're moving boulders around for drilling, and they're going to start that, I want to say, in the next episode. Right from the start, the crane's electronics start not cooperating. This glitch kind of coincides with the team picking up the 1.6 gigahertz signal. Travis suggests that since the ground seems so conductive and charged, that the crane could be acting as some kind of an antenna. But the question still remains, where's the battery? Where is all this power coming from? After this, the team meets with Brandon and Cameron Fugel and the Utah Attorney General to review the rocket footage. Cameron, the pilot, is confident the helicopter that came over the ranch was a Black Hawk, and this is based off the noise made by the rotors. With the Attorney General there, they conduct an experiment by dropping some medicine balls from the helicopter to study their trajectory to see if they're, do they fall straight, do they veer off, do they slow down, do they speed up. All relatively easy to measure, sort of baseline physics things. After the first set of 5 balls were dropped, the 1.6 gigahertz signal appeared briefly, and Thomas left after experiencing some head and neck pain. During the episode's debrief, he commented that the condition continued to get worse even after having left the ranch. The first set of balls was dropped, according to the TV show, at 1,000 feet above ground level, or AGL. In the debrief, they were saying 100 feet, so I'm not sure if that's a discrepancy, if he's remembering wrong, or if I'm remembering wrong, or whatever, but at any rate, they had a lower altitude, and then they had a higher altitude. The second set was the higher altitude. It was dropped from around 5,000 feet AGL. The weather was less than ideal, and when the helo got to the mark over the triangle at the higher altitude, the winds would pick up from 8 all the way to 35 knots, and it would blow the helicopter around, and the compass would actually spin. After dropping at least 4 of the balls, the experiment was aborted due to lightning. Upon review of the GPS data from the helicopter, there were several discrepancies between the position and altitude, and there was one flight path that, there were several anomalies in the flight path. For instance, one of them, the arc that the helicopter flew would have been several miles outside of where they actually were, and you can actually see Travis actually commenting on that lot during the actual episode. So it's very weird, to say the least. Also, while they were reviewing some of the GPS data as well as the visual footage of filming the helicopter, a UAP was detected below the helicopter. It wasn't very visible, apparently, using just the standard shot, but when you applied an embossing filter, the object was clearly visible. It appeared to be metallic, and it had a bright reflection on the top and a shadow on the bottom, so clearly whatever it was not some sort of an artifact. It was there, it had mass, and it was casting a shadow. And Travis actually brought up that it might be similar to a UAP, not a UFO, that was captured above the ranch on a previous season. Basically, where you had 2 hemispheres and then a separation in the middle. So, kind of interesting. It'd be kind of cool if they could actually start to catalog some of these UAPs and be like, oh, it's the same one. But, this high definition footage is hard to come by. By the end of the episode, the Attorney General updated the team on what he had found out about the helicopter that had flown over the ranch the night the rocket exploded. And it was, in fact, a Black Hawk helicopter, which had taken off from McDonald Airfield. It flew northeast over the Uinta-Waseton Cache National Forest. It flew around Ashley National Forest, south, came over the ranch, and returned west to the Salt Lake area around Sandy City. There is no more information forthcoming, and in the debrief it was stated that Reyes, the Attorney General, was unable to reveal his sources. Additionally, Travis floated the idea that it could be military contractors, not necessarily the military themselves. And it was also revealed that at least one of the balls dropped was never found. Going back to the ball dropping experiment. And what makes this really odd is that all the balls landed roughly in a straight line. And Caleb was saying that, they were on the ground, they would get this one, they'd walk like 50 feet, there's another one, they'd walk 100 feet or so, there's another one, and then there was like a gap where one should have been, and it simply wasn't, it was just gone. If you'd like to hear more about the debrief, you need to join the Skinwalker Ranch Insider Program, where you get exclusive content, camera feeds, and material released nowhere else. If anybody's curious, yours truly is a part of that Skinwalker Ranch Insider Program, and I have the cameras up just about all the time. And the Homestead 2, what in the world is making all that racket? It sounds like someone shuffling a deck of cards all the flipping time. I wish I could just go and camp there, because that place seems like stuff's going on all the time. It could just be leaves rustling, I don't know, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. Now, maybe this episode wasn't quite as exciting as previous episodes, but, I can say it's still interesting. I mean, after all, why is the government, or maybe government contractors, watching the ranch, and how in the world did they know to get there immediately following the rockets? I mean, Thomas had even stated that had they been ready to load and launch another rocket, more than likely they would have hit that helicopter, and that would have been, people would have gotten hurt for sure, but, maybe we'd have got some answers. All I'm saying. So that's all we have for this week, folks. If you like what you heard, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can find us on Twitter at ParanormalOps23 and Instagram at ParanormalOperator23. We are also on Rumble. Our email, if you have any sightings or experiences you want to report, is paranormaloperator23@gmail.com. Until next time, folks, keep searching in the darkness.